Hey, what's going on? Another edition of War Sports. We're going to do kind of a small Sunday night format, kind of a fireside chat, breaking down the weekend. A couple of big things happened. Dion, how you feeling today, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Like I said, had some personal things going on this last week. That's why we were kind of slow this last week, but we're ready to hit the ground again this week. Just wanted to have a quick video today. I'm feeling good, but ready to get going next week and start picking up some momentum again, you know?
And
How
man,
you
back
doing?
to the grind. Back to the grind. It's always good to take care of your family and yourself and just your
Yeah.
personal things. And you got to have that refreshed time every once in a while
Yeah.
to get back to some of the things that we all got to work. We all got to do the 9 to 5, but some stuff that's a little bit more of a passion project, a little bit more of the fun to your life. You know what I mean? So this is definitely
Absolutely.
one of those things for us. So two big things happened this week, right? We're going to start off
Yeah.
maybe to do the Major League Baseball. We're a little bit lucky because Dion is the biggest Cardinals fan I know ever since growing up. So from the Ozzie Smith era all the way through
Yeah.
Albert Pujols and even into right now. So we had the big news. We have Nolan Arenado leaving the local here, Colorado Rockies, going to the right across the I-70 all the way over to St. Louis, Missouri, and going to be playing with the Cardinals now. So first thoughts, just off the top of the head, as a Cardinals fan, what does this do to the Cardinals? And then what does this actually project as far as your chances in that division?
All right. Well, I'm going to start off, first of all, by, going back to this there was talks of this trade going on, talks going on with Arenado getting traded to the Cardinals last season, and it started picking up a little bit of momentum right before spring training started coming. But then you remember spring training hit, and then bam, spring training was ready to hit, and then bam, COVID hits. So then we get into no sports for a while, and we get into shortened season. So I think like all that talks and all that had to be put on the back burner. Everything had to. We're just hoping to have a season at that point. And so I think that's where everything went on the back burner then. Then fast forward to this year, talks, it was a quiet offseason for the Cardinals, and any Cardinals fan will tell you, it was kind of frustrating to see these other players going other places and, top talent that maybe were connected maybe to the Cardinals, or maybe the Cardinals should go after. They just were doing nothing, sitting still doing nothing. It was kind of frustrating as a Cardinal fan, sitting here like, man, where's our best deals? We're trying to sign Wainwright and Yadier Molina back for one more year each, So then the talks started coming, and this kind of just happened fast, honestly. They re-engaged talks. We heard about that like Wednesday, Thursday. Then by this weekend, it was done. It was a deal. There was a deal ready to be made. So still waiting on the particulars of this. But my initial reaction is I'm kind of shocked, honestly, with the fact that the Cardinals have 3 top 100 MLB prospects. And I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's 3 in the top 100, and none of them got traded. None of them are reportedly included in this deal. It's from what I heard, is the Cardinals' 23rd ranked prospect, Austin Gomber, some pitching, and nothing great. And on top of that, they got $50 million sent to them with it. So I was kind of shocked at what they had to give up for him. I mean, it was pretty crazy to me, if you ask me. It looked like a steal until we see the details. I will say I am a little bit surprised at, and again, this could change tomorrow when we find what I guess we should have the specifics tomorrow, we're hoping. But I was kind of surprised that neither Dexter Fowler or Matt Carpenter rather were not included in this deal, because both of them have a huge contract, which is why the Cardinals were kind of reluctant to bring on a big contract. So I was kind of surprised that one of those two wasn't involved in, from anything I've heard. That could change tomorrow. We could find out more that maybe Carpenter is involved. We don't know. But so that's my initial reaction, because I was kind of shocked. It's kind of a steal, really.
No, I think that, I mean, as far as a lot of lists out there, ESPN top 100, MLB top 100, the Cardinals did have a deep farm system, and they have had a deep farm system for years. I think that's one of their staples. Gomber is the only MLB ready prospect that they're getting back. I got his stats here. He made his major league debut in June 2018. Had a 4.4 ERA in 29 games, 11 starts. And then he's been in the minors up and down the last 2 years. But, he's a lefty, southpaw, has some decent stuff. I don't know that acquiring pitching prospects for the Rockies is kind of the way to build their team internally, but it really just felt like as a borderline Rockies fan, I mean, I follow the Rockies quite a bit. I'd call myself a fan because they are local. They're on TV every night. It's hard to not like the Rockies. Of the local teams, Rockies and Nuggets are the ones that I follow the most with the most passion, I guess. But it really just feels like a salary dump and kind of a reset button chance for the Rockies. I will say, I don't know, this is strange. This is something I thought about and I wrote down when it first happened, and I never even talked to you about it yet because I just wanted to feel it out live and kind of surprise you with it. But as a borderline Rockies fan for the last 20, 25 years, we've had Larry Walker go to the Cardinals. We've watched Matt Holliday go to the Cardinals. Dexter Fowler kind of made his way back to the Cardinals, going through the Cubs. And now we have Nolan Arenado, going to be wearing a Cardinals uniform. So in some ways, there's this weird Cardinals farm system going on, and it's a kind of one way, right? I don't remember much Cardinals coming to the Rockies doing much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Same here. It wasn't no big names, nothing. And you know what? I feel like obviously there's a good relationship between the Cardinals front office and the Rockies front office, and but yeah, no, that was same thing. I was joking with somebody earlier today, matter of fact, telling them it's almost like the Rockies are the Cardinals farm system, But Matt Holliday and Larry Walker, like you said, both came here and won a World Series. They weren't able to, Holliday, they played. Was Larry Walker was there in the World Series too, or no? It was Holliday.
They played the Braves one year and then wild card series.
But Matt Holliday did play in the World Series with the Rockies. But I mean, yeah. So yeah, I hope he brings that same thing here. But it's kind of curious about the contract. I know from what another report I heard was Nolan Arenado was reportedly had been in conversation over the last year with somebody in the organization. Who I don't know. We could all assume, who maybe Goldschmidt. I don't know, a former NL West guy. I don't know. But he said that he had been in contact with him over the last year, saying, "Hey, I really want to go play there." But then again, they added another year of opt out, so he not only has an opt out next year, but he has an opt out the year after. So I'm sure the Cardinals are going to want to get something done soon and to try to lock him up long term. But yeah, I got a lot of people that I've been talking to that still seem to think that he's bound for LA, that, Justin Turner's days are numbered there. Obviously he's a little older, and a lot of people still think that he's bound for LA at some point in his career, whether it's a rental, which also makes me happy that we didn't give up to nothing real big, because if he is just a 1-2 year rental, hey, he didn't cost us much anyway. So let's just enjoy it now. And hey, if we get fans back this year, I promise you he's going to, he loved playing in Colorado. Some of the greatest fans, in baseball, but anybody that's played in St. Louis, they'll tell you, they'll tell you that playing in St. Louis is like playing nowhere else. It's a different.
It's Coors to Busch, right? I mean, it's
absolutely.
You got the beer cans, can stadiums. What's this kind of mean for the division, though? I mean, the Cubs really took a step backwards. They kind of, shipped off Bryant. They shipped off Schwarber up to the Nationals. Milwaukee hasn't done a lot of moves. I think they still got Yelich and some decent bats up there. But what's it do right there for the division, and how do you see things kind of playing out?
That's the thing, is all the talent and all the power, if you will, has been shifted to the NL West, to the Dodgers and what the Padres are doing there, right? And really the Central in the past few years, it was one of the tougher divisions. Milwaukee was making a run for it. Chicago obviously won the World Series. Cincinnati, signed a few guys trying to make a play. They just can't seem to get it right for some reason. But in reality, the division's wide open, and I think St. Louis was probably right there towards the top. But I think this move here definitely moves them to the front runners. It's not going to be a hard division to win. There's not a whole lot of talent left. Chicago, like I said, is dumping salaries left and right. Milwaukee, I wouldn't be surprised, if you start hearing rumors about Yelich, if they start off slow, or Ryan Braun's there, he's getting a little older, and so it's really a wide open division, really. And like I said, I think this move here really solidifies the Cardinals' place in that division to where they're clearly going to be front runners now, and they really should run away with the division, to be honest with you. And be curious to see what the rest of the division does, honestly. I mean, but we shall see.
I think that as much as the Cardinals, I like the bats and I like the lineup. I think Hudson and Flaherty at the top of the rotation really solidifies a 1-2 that you shouldn't have too many losing streaks and too many slumps. Right. And again, I think we're going back. I think it's DH is going away for the National League. I believe
they're still voting on that, but
yeah, if there is a DH, then it really just makes a little bit better because I think you have a couple of pieces that you can. On any given night, Carlson or one of those guys is sitting, those young guys is sitting, Jed, Jorko sitting. I mean, there's just, someone is sitting. Yeah, but you could slide them in there with the DH. I mean, you never. They kind of had that missing power since Ozuna left, and even when Ozuna was there, he wasn't a power guy. He was a good hitter, but he got to Atlanta, and he looks like a different person. Like he was from the Marlins days. So
exactly.
I mean, it's just,
and the guy who's going to benefit most from this is going to be Paul Goldschmidt. Really, you go a lineup with Paul Dion, solid shortstop, and put up some great numbers. But that he doesn't scare. He's not really scaring many people, and you're not really pitching around. Around Goldschmidt. Yeah, you're not pitching around Dion. You're not afraid of him,
O'Neill's there,
good,
decent, Bader's a good, decent. I mean, there's no help. When Ozuna left, I think it was Martinez. Maybe was only the power bat left. Carpenter was like batting 165 last year. But now you got that 1-2 right in the middle. You got Colton Wong if he resigns, kind of leading off. And he's a good second baseman. I mean,
that'll be interesting.
I don't know why he's not signed. Yeah, I don't know why.
And that changes a lot of things. Colton Wong coming back changes a lot of things because right now I think what they're banking on is you got Tommy Edman, right? Who third baseman, he came as a third baseman, played some shortstop when Dion was out. They just tried to find a place for him because he was young and he was he came in and started off hot. So they were trying to find a place for him. And it's just like, where do you put him? And with Wong, with DeYoung, with Matt Carpenter in his contract and all that stuff, you just trying to find a place for Edman. And I think right now what they're kind of banking on is that if they don't sign Colton Wong, Edman's going to be your starting second baseman, which I don't think that's too bad. I mean, second base, a former third baseman, Edman, I think he'll be all right there. But I feel like if they can re-sign Wong, that makes things even more interesting because Edman can also play the outfield. Is he as good out there? I don't know, but maybe if you give him constant reps out there and that's where he knows he's going to be, then you got a different, a little different focus from him, and maybe he'll flourish there. But so that's still something. I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised Wong hasn't got signed. I've heard he's gotten interest from certain teams, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because the hot stove hasn't really been that hot yet. But Wong. I mean, you're talking about he just won his second Gold Glove, so. How he isn't signed? Is he asking too much? I don't know what the deal is.
I think arbitration year was like 12 or 13 million, which didn't seem like a lot for a starting Gold Glove second baseman on a National League tender.
Exactly.
Especially what the Padres and Dodgers have done. Like, what you got to hang with them.
Absolutely. So
on the Rocky side, I don't want to spend too much time on it. We got some other stuff to talk about on the NFL side, but to me, pure fire sale at this point. They know they can't hang with the Padres. They know they can't hang with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They probably can't even hang with the Giants at this point.
Right.
They're going to be kind of bottom feeders. They might not have a whole stadium full of tickets to sell this year anyway.
Right.
So I think that they're, I think Murphy retired this year as well.
Yep.
And so I think it's just, who's next? That's the thing.
Is the Story next?
Is it Blackman's next? The Story next? Yeah. It's just,
absolutely.
Wait till the other shoe drops. And I mean,
exactly, and like as far as the trade of Arenado, here you got someone who's in line to possibly be one of the best third basemen ever played the game, and it's hard to see him, as a Rocky fan being like, how do you let go of a guy like this, who's been so great, but when he made it clear, when he got into it last year with the front office, and it was just, it got ugly, and it was clear he didn't want to be there. So I've always been the type of person that I don't care how good you are. If you don't want to be there, why keep the guy? Like I said, it doesn't matter how much talent the guy has. If this guy doesn't want to be there, then you're wasting his time. You're wasting your time and lots of money, So, but like you said, it's sad because, like you said, I like the Rockies as well. I was a Cardinals fan since before we had the Rockies here in Colorado. So I cheer for them as well. I like to see them do well, but like I said, it's kind of frustrating, seeing that they've had so much talent. Like you said, I mean, we've just named off a couple guys that went to St. Louis. I mean, just all the guys that have gone over. DJ LeMahieu. You could go on for days and days of players that have just been phenomenal. Continue to be phenomenal other places. That just, and it's just like, why can't they just get it right? Why can't they just, But
it's just a mystery for another day. And on the other side of it, we got the NFL big news trade that just happened. Basically, it's a swap of starting quarterbacks in the NFC, Stafford for Goff. The one thing that's really the prize for the Lions on their side is they do get a starting level quarterback to bridge the gap, but they got a bunch of draft picks that I hope that the Rams think that are going to be lower first round draft picks. Right. But any given however you break it down, the Lions have got a lot more assets out of this deal than maybe the Rams. They have a strange philosophy of not having any first-round draft picks. If you go back, they haven't had one since Goff, and they just keep on trading them. Jordan Ramsey, and just a number of different moves to kind of get rid of their draft picks and leverage those draft position. But first thoughts, what do you think?
I'm trying to figure out really where things went wrong with Goff. I mean, you're talking just a couple of years ago, he was in the Super Bowl. Him and McVay were like tight, and the next young, dynamic, quarterback coach, and what am I missing? I mean, was he as effective this year? No, but there's so much that you got to keep in consideration here. You got COVID this year, so you didn't have time to work with, with your team. He had a broken thumb and he beat the Seahawks, and obviously after that they just couldn't hang no more. But I don't know. I mean, as far as the Lions side, again, just like I said a few moments ago, as far as Stafford goes, he made it clear he wanted to trade. And again, if he doesn't want to be there, what are you doing, wasting your time? So I feel like the Lions, they got them a solid starting quarterback. And if they don't feel like, he can be the one, they still got a high draft pick, number 9, I believe.
Yeah.
They can take someone early if they want to this year. There's a lot of names out there that, should still be available by the time they pick. And then like I said, they got some more first rounds from the Rams as well. So I just, they talk about the Browns were the cursed team and this and that. Well, the NFC side, I feel like the Lions are the same type of way, but the Lions have had talent is the thing, arguably the best running back ever to play the game, and arguably one of the greatest receivers to ever play the game, and Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, like two guys that you'll never see anyone like them ever again. It's quite possible, and it's like, how could you not win with those guys? And how could you not surround those guys with talent? And, it's no wonder both of them retired early, and Stafford's been nothing, he's been a gamer, played hurt, but hey, he grew up with best friends with Clayton Kershaw. And now he's going to be next door neighbors with him, So,
this is what I don't understand too. I think that Goff is still relatively young, number 1 pick. They're paying him a starting quarterback salary, but it's nothing over the top. It's manageable as far as starting quarterback salaries go. Made the playoffs several years. I think he's made the playoffs maybe 3 to 4 years. Made the Super Bowl run, and I think what maybe had happened, and I don't even know. This is just from where I'm sitting, but. There was Gurley was started to break down, and then the offense had to change a little bit, and maybe McVay didn't love, having to put more on Goff, and maybe Goff didn't have enough time to adjust. I don't know that, but then Akers came on, and McVay kind of go back to the style that was successful, and they made another run. I just don't know that they felt that if push comes to shove, is Goff going to be able to make the throws to get you back in the game? Is he going to be able to I don't know if he has enough arm talent to make those throws to rally back. And I think that's true. That's, backs against the wall. If you're a game manager, then that's what you do. You manage the game. You hope your defense pulls it out. You hope that, the running game comes through, and you have to only make 1, 2, 3 plays a game. But if you don't have it and you fall behind, then there's no way to get back into a game, especially if you throw yourself out. And I don't think Goff really just throws himself out of games. He just doesn't throw himself into games either. So
Right. No, and on the other side, I'm kind of curious because Stafford never really had a running game, I mean, and this year, Akers
random.
came in and exactly. These random guys that, did decent, did serviceable. But, if Akers is going to be like what we saw at the end of the season, McVay's going to want to run that ball a lot. And Stafford's always been I'm the offense, I'm going to throw the ball. I'm going to keep us in these games. And so it's nice. He's going to have, some solid receivers and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, but yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a whole, besides, having Megatron, Marvin Jones, he's been around the block a few times, but he's still solid.
I mean, Galladay's a good receiver. But
yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work out. I mean, Stafford's always been the guy like, hey, I don't need a running game. I'll throw the ball. And, so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to be. It's good for him, though. I mean, I guess it's good. I feel better for him, I guess, than I do for Goff. I feel more bad for Goff because in my eyes, it's not like he was that bad. There's a lot worse quarterbacks than Jared Goff, I would say. And man, I tell you what, like the fact that they had to give him Goff and first round draft picks is just kind of like, and Stafford, 33 years old, what's he got, 4 or 5 years left, 2 or 3 at a really, really high level. And then before he starts, those injuries are going to start catching up to him. I mean, and he's taken a pretty good beating in his career. So.
No, I think that for Goff, who knows what's going to be in the future for him, but
right.
It kind of reminds me a little bit maybe of, maybe not quite to the extent, but, Kurt Warner, he had that good run with the Rams and then kind of forced out of town, went to the Giants. We all know that how, Eli got drafted and it just was a disaster. And it looked like he may have just be kind of washed out of the league. Right. And he ends up in Arizona where no one gave him a shot at anything. And then he turns into a third leg of a Hall of Fame career, really. I don't think that Goff's in that level. We always have this conversation. Who's the next Tannehill? And that's what I'm in the New England fan and Cam Newton coming in. We knew he was stopgap, but who's the next Tannehill where you just wash out of your first team, you have a little bit of talent, and you catch on somewhere else, and you turn into a Pro Bowl level, AFC championship level type of quarterback. And we're all kind of looking for that. There's a lot of teams this year that's going to need a quarterback. We're going to do a rundown show one of these days and kind of just go through who's quarterbacks on what team and are they safe and what team needs a quarterback, because there's a lot out there and there's not enough good quarterbacks. So
no, that's the truth. Like I said, you got Watson still. What's going to happen there? You got the ownership, new coach saying, hey, he ain't going nowhere. He plays here. And that standoff's going to be coming here soon. What's going to happen there? And so, yeah, it's going to – and then Darnold, what's going to happen there? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to draft someone and get rid of him? Are they Tua? Are Tua going to be involved in the trade somewhere? And so, yeah, there's still a lot to go on, and it's going to be interesting. Like I said, next year there's going to be a lot of mix-ups, and like I said, I'm not so sure it's that, like, man, just think they didn't have OTAs this year. They didn't have minicamp. They didn't have none of that stuff, and even in the working in training camp and stuff it was so tough for teams to figure it out how to best do it and how to get the most out of it. I mean, just watching from watching Hard Knocks this year, that how tough it was for teams, and it's
and as much as all the players hate preseason, this is one of those years where you kind of were like, man, without preseason, those first 2-3 games, rough, rough going, getting their timing going, and then anytime there was a lot of teams went through it. Either you had the COVID breakouts in your own locker rooms, or you were affected by your schedule on the COVID side. So
absolutely,
if you're back to normal next year, who knows what it's going to look like. I think Dan Campbell coming in as a brand new coach for the Lions almost had to move Stafford, because when you walk in there, it was Stafford's locker room. You can't walk in there. Everybody had to unite against Patricia, and Stafford was probably one of the big voices that kind of got Patricia out of that, because there's no one else on that team that has any kind of clout. So, you kind of have to move Stafford, because there's already divisions in your locker room and coming in as a brand new coach, and this is just a chance for a fresh start to bite some kneecaps. You know what I mean? That dude is hungry. He's gonna come out.
And who knows? Goff may be just here temporarily. We may get to draft time and they draft Justin Fields and say, you know what, we maybe don't need Goff here to start. We're going to start off with Fields. I'm a new coach. I'm going to start off fresh. Let's get rid of Goff too. Let's flip him for something else. You never know. We don't know. But if they do go with Goff, it's also a pretty damn good, like you said, you had to get rid of Stafford because of you're a new coach coming in. He made it clear he didn't want to be there. And so, yeah, you got to get rid of him. So I could think of a lot worse situations than having Jared Goff as your starting quarterback coming in.
Amen.
When you're losing Stafford,
Exactly. You know what I mean? When we talk about those worst situations, there's a lot of teams in worse situations. I mean, the Lions are a bad team, but there's a lot of teams in worse quarterback situations.
For sure.
We wanted to run down these two big trades over the weekend. We wanted to get it out there fresh. I'll post this. It'll be coming out Monday morning, but Monday is coming fresh. We're going to start our Super Bowl week preview. We're going to do a lot of content on the Twitter. We're going to do a lot of content on Instagram. We're going to try to get up 2 videos, and maybe even involve some of our friends from the group chat on here and kind of get a little bit of a rundown of different perspectives from along everybody's kind of point of view. So, hopefully you enjoyed this quick one. We'll get it edited, we'll get it up, and then we'll get it again on Monday, Tuesday, and then one more time before Sunday, and we'll just we'll keep it moving.
That's right. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, like and subscribe it. We're trying to get things going now. Like I said, we're back on track now, and we're going to get things going. Football season, last week here, the season here coming up, and then, off-season talk and whatnot. But we'll go into some basketball and talk about some March Madness coming up. We'll have some baseball soon here too to talk about. So sports never end, and it never stops. It's always something to talk about, always something fun. This weekend we had a great, 2 big trades in NFL and MLB. So, hey, let's talk about it all year long, baby.
Got you, man. So, Rins Above Replacement, War Sports. We're going to come at you. Peace out, y'all.